Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Zindi, your pharmacist, and this is Health Talk TT. Now guys, I know I have been MIA for a little while. For the last month or so, my work days have been longer, and it's been kind of difficult to get the videos out for you guys, but I want to thank those of you who would have messaged me to encourage me to continue doing the good work. Thank you so much. So I am here today, and if you've clicked on this video, it's because you saw the other videos and you had some questions and you want answers. I too have some questions, and I have some points that I want to raise, things that the thought process I went through in watching the videos, in seeing the commentary, in seeing people's feedback on the videos. There are some things that as a pharmacist came to my mind almost immediately that I know may not have come to your mind, and I want to share that with you. Now, side note, if you hear barking or scratching at the door, those are my dogs, and please excuse them. Now, if you haven't liked this channel before, if you're not subscribed, if you're not following, if your notification bell isn't on, please do. Thank you. Do all those things, and we're going to get right into it. I'm shooting this video on the 14th of August, and so much has happened and so much is happening in the last week or so. But nevertheless, I felt as though this information needed to be out and needed to be out now. Now, when the video, Dr. Stella would have put out a video, well, she would have been videoed. She would have been shot in a video, and the video went viral everywhere, and everyone was sharing the video, sharing their comments in the video. Probably about 4 or 5 persons would have shared that same video with me to ask me what my views on it, what I thought of it. And so I'm going to take this time to respond to all of those people and to other persons who may just be interested. If you've clicked on this video, you are interested, and we're here to have a conversation. My dogs. Alright, so the first thing that came to mind, the first thing that I really want to ponder on is just the controversy surrounding hydroxychloroquine, also known as HCQ. And for the rest of this video, I'm going to refer to it as HCQ, and the confusion around it. Now, HCQ, for those of you who are new to this channel, my very first video was a drug information video on HCQ, the history of it, what it's used for, how it's used, and so forth. And if you want to know that information to get some measure of context, please feel free to go and watch that video and come right back to finish this video. Now, as I said in that video, HCQ is a very old drug. Originally, the drug that was discovered was chloroquine, and chloroquine, it was actually shelved for a period of time because of its toxicity level. And then hydroxychloroquine was developed, very similar in their chemical structure. They're used for the same things. It's anti-malarial, immunosuppressant, disease-modifying, anti-rheumatic drug. And that's what we've done it for. But it's an old drug. And there are persons who have lupus, persons who have rheumatoid arthritis, persons who have malaria, who are on hydroxychloroquine and probably have been for a long period of time. Side effects, adverse effects, they exist in all medication. I am not here downplaying the side effects or the adverse effects of the drug, as I started with the fact that it has been known to be a drug that, its toxicity is on the higher end of toxicities that, you could come across when it comes to a drug. So that is known. The controversy around the drug is, I don't know if it's a genuine one or if, the media just did a very good job at confusing us or distorting information. I have gone through so much articles and research on medical professionals who are pro hydroxychloroquine, HCQ, and those who are against it for the use of the coronavirus. Now, I listened to Dr. Stella and I listened to her passion with which she shared information, her evidence-based medicine that she would have practiced. You know, she put patients on the medication, she said it works. I'm not here denying the efficacy of hydroxychloroquine. I'm not involved in running clinical trials, so I can't say that it is or it's not adamantly, but based on the research, both sides have been presented. You know, there's a Dr. Harvey Risch, I may be pronouncing his surname incorrectly, but it'll be written at the bottom here, and he did research into, and he supports the use of hydroxychloroquine for COVID-19 patients. You know, but then there are other doctors who are saying that it does not work. You have two groups of persons. You must understand that there are persons who are getting severe symptoms and suffering severely with COVID-19, resulting in them being hospitalized. And then there are those who are getting mild strains and are able to manage it at home. And what Dr. Harvey was saying, that in his research, he was saying that if it's used early, it can be beneficial. Now, the FDA has removed the authorization, the emergency authorization for its use in emergency setting. Then it was approved, and they have, you know, they have removed the approval for HCQ being used in the emergency setting, because it's apparently persons who had severe symptoms and were on ventilators and so forth. It was not very successful in that case. However, there are doctors who are saying that is too late to use it earlier. So I'm not here to negate that. I just want you all to be aware that information was thrown at you, the public. It was literally just thrown at you. And I know for a fact that there's some persons who they could run out there and stock up on hydroxychloroquine just in case. But what strength of hydroxychloroquine are you going to use? And how frequent would you use it during the day? How much times during the day? And for how much days would you use it for? And what about the other medication that you are on? Does it interact negatively with those? There are medications that are contraindicated, meaning it should not be used with, it cannot be used with hydroxychloroquine. One of them, believe it or not, is the yellow fever vaccine. Another one, I think, is the hepatitis A and B vaccine. And there's a long list. There are others as well. So you being thrown that information, I think, was really irresponsible. And I want you all to know that, again, I'm not here saying it does not work. And now, if it does work, hip hip hooray, because that's an old drug that we have that could be made available to the population. So that would be great. But it's just the irresponsibility with which the information was really just thrown at you that really concerns me. A second thing that jumped out to me, oh Lord, it jumped out to me was the fact that, oh gosh, that was my second thought. It was like, oh gosh, price gonna raise again. And that should be a real genuine concern for you if you have family or loved ones who are on HCQ long term and have no choice but to purchase it even if the price went up. Also, because persons were now running out to pull it off the shelves, persons who really needed it, you know, didn't have access to it because it was sold out. So, I mean, and we have to consider public health and not just our own. Yes, your health is very individual and managing your own health is very individual, and I advocate that. But when it comes to a public health consideration, it's almost as if, okay, if I hold 3 bottles of hydroxychloroquine just in case, it means that 3 or more patients who would have needed it day to day who now don't have it. So please be considerate. I want persons to consider that. And then lastly, what came to mind was the fact that Azithromycin was a part of the combination of medications that was recommended. Now, Azithromycin is a brand name. The drug is Azithromycin. So I'm going to I'm going to use the drug name and not the brand name because I'm not a sponsor for that brand. I'm not promoting a brand, right? Azithromycin is a macrolide antibiotic, and from what you know, antibiotics do not treat viruses. That's why when you have the flu, which is influenza virus, using a course of broad spectrum antibiotic does nothing for you. Unless with the flu you have developed some form of bacterial pneumonia or some upper or lower respiratory tract infection, then possibly. But to just treat influenza, bacteria, antibiotic does nothing to the virus. However, in looking into azithromycin, what I found was that it has immunomodulatory effects on your immune system. And I'll explain what that is in the description below, which is a good thing for your immune system, really. Also, what was found, because they began to do research on azithromycin, because the first time I heard of the combination, and it was not in this video, I heard it previous to this video, of hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, and zinc, I immediately thought azithromycin, an antibiotic. But I did my own research, and what was found was that azithromycin was showing activity against certain strains of viruses, like rhinoviruses, in vitro though, which would mean like in test tubes and not in humans. But that's still very promising. Now, it having effect against rhinoviruses doesn't mean that it's going to have an effect against coronavirus. However, for the patients who are developing a bacterial pneumonia as a result of the COVID-19 coronavirus, in using azithromycin to treat the bacterial infection, of course, your bacterial load will go down. So your immune system would now be freed up to combat the virus. Could you imagine having a bacterial infection and a viral infection working against your immune system at the same time? So in that regard, I could understand where the azithromycin is part of therapy. However, antibiotic resistance is real. And as I was reading in one of the articles in my research, if azithromycin is showing positive effects against the coronavirus, then the risk of antibiotic resistance as opposed to the benefit that it would do in treatment with somebody who has coronavirus, the benefit may outweigh the risk. And that's kind of scary because antibiotic resistance is a real issue right now, as in it's almost as if your bacterial infection becomes a superbug and the antibiotic that was killing it before could no longer kill it. So it's almost as if your bacteria, they basically outsmart the medication, and then it's no longer effective. And we're not mass producing new antibiotics all the time. There are a few new ones, relatively new ones on the market, but generally. So antibiotic resistance is really a cause of concern for me as well. Why am I sharing all this information with you? It is to help you put some things in context. I want you to be very careful in grabbing at information that is really just thrown at you. Everything, go and research it. Go and ask your physician about it. Ask your pharmacist about it before you just kind of run with information. And I think social media and media on a whole doing a very good job at sensationalizing every aspect of this coronavirus. So be level-headed in moving forward. As I said before, your health and taking care of yourself is a very individual thing. So please, prioritize it. And before I close off this video, as I mentioned before, today is August 14th, and our general elections here in Trinidad and Tobago were 4 days ago, and since then so much has been happening. It's almost as if our Twin Island state is being broken down into pieces. And there's something that I want to gently remind you of, because for those of you who know, I practice in both hospital and community pharmacy. And I remember, being on work in community pharmacy setting, and within my 4-hour shift, I would have dealt with every race of people and or ethnicity. I dealt with persons who had money and those who didn't have money. Those with dark skin and those with light skin. Those with kinky hair and those with straight hair. And there was one underlying commonality that brought them together. We could say by force. And that was illness. You know, it has no respect of person. Everyone that walked through the pharmacy door and came to the dispensary and met me by the counter, they all had some sort of discomfort or illness, and they all needed help. And that is where we're at. We are facing a pandemic and we all need help. So together we will aspire. Together we will achieve health and wellness, and together we will get over COVID-19, but only together. So thanks guys for tuning in on this week's video. Look out for another video very soon. I do have a part 2 to the pre-diabetes video that I would be releasing probably before the weekend ends. I owe you all that. Thank you so much for being here and for staying to the end of this video. I have just given you the building tools. Go build a better you.